you run into so many people that haven't had their fathers around. You know, for me, I've always looked up to my father. I always thought of my dad as my superhero.
Dang, what's that feel like?
That's why the father being there is important. We are a blueprint of what the boys are supposed to be.
I know I had way more men in my life speaking words of life to me than I can remember.
Yeah.
But I remember the trauma more. I didn't want to look at anybody else like a father figure. Yeah. I was resistant towards, like, I don't want that. Like,
I'm not fully healed.
Not fully healed. You know what I'm saying?
Started out with, the murder, drug dealer, abusive, guy. You got to hide around the house.
You were given that same path, and you could have easily followed.
I could have, yeah.
What was the turning point to say, I know this ain't it. I know this ain't what a man is for you? Welcome to season 5, episode 2 of the Legin Podcast.
We moving.
Yeah, we in there, baby.
Man,
we in there.
Right.
Look, we're glad you're here. We turn the lives around one episode at a time. I'm your host, Legin. Big shout out to you for being here. If you're not here and it's your first time, we love you. Man, share, star, and subscribe so the people see all the great things. To my left is my militant host, JB Harrison. He just came off a duck hunt. And I'm sorry. Okay. Hey, JB killing me fly, man. Look at the fit, man. This is my homie, man. We've been friends forever. JB's entrepreneur, music aficionado, hip hop head, and beyond that, a great man of God that I look up to because I love.
And a duck hunter too, apparently.
A duck hunter.
Chitty back.
Got a dead deer on the hood right now with some rope on it.
Hey, shout out to my daughter, man. She made this hat for me.
Oh, them the joints she made?
Yeah, she made that. So
That was kind of right.
yeah.
Hey, man, holla at me, yo. Like, we put you on, sponsor the podcast with some free hats for her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Does she got a site, though?
Nah, not yet. She, in her free time when she ain't balling, she crocheting.
Listen, yeah, no doubt. That's good, man. So duck hunting hats. And to my left of him is Anomaly Art Studio, Trevor Lucas, professional graffiti artist.
Yes.
And all things legal with the graffiti as far as we know.
Absolutely.
The stuff he promotes, he's been paid for.
Catch him at night, though.
Try to keep it clean.
Catch him after 6.
Catch him at night.
Don't watch me at night.
Look, man, we in there. So today we wanted to talk about a crisis and give some hope to that crisis. That crisis is fatherlessness. Fatherhood is under attack. We know that from all types of cultural forces, but then just also some people not stepping up doing what they're supposed to do. And generations and generations and generations we paying for it. I read a stat, 17.4 million children right now, at least in America, without any man in the home, biological stepdad, anything, all that. So, and that's 1 in 4 households. So that was enough. It was from fatherhood.org. It's enough to fill the city of New York twice.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Los Angeles 4 times. That's how many kids are living without a male presence in the home. That was my story. That was Trevor's story. JB had a great dad, but he's dealt with a lot of people in communities, and just where JB puts himself, he deals with fatherless boys and men all the time. And I'm sure either you're watching this and you've been through that, or you know somebody dealing with that. And we just wanted to address how to get through, because you can't change. You can't make somebody be there if they're supposed to be there. But how do you process that? How do you live through that? How do you go on to yourself, be a good man, woman, whatever, when you didn't have a dad there to fill that void? So,
or you had one and it wasn't the best example.
Or you had one that was present, but they were absent for other reasons. So,
yeah,
Jay, what you think, man? How do you help somebody through that crisis, like of processing the fact that your dad didn't show up for you? Now you had a good dad, no?
I had a great dad.
Yeah, man.
I had a good dad. Shout out Pops.
Don't put that on his dad.
Nah, I'm about to say. Yeah. I just wanted to throw it out there because we jealous. So we really don't want to hear what you have to say. So
man. Shout out Pops.
There.
I don't know, man, but one thing that I do know and I appreciate is all the homeboys that I had or whatever, they always wanted to come to the house.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that didn't have their fathers or whatever, they always wanted to be at my house. Because of the dynamic. One, my dad was there, my mother was there, and so just that family dynamic it's attractive.
Yeah.
that way.
Especially in places where it's rare.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so, for me, a lot of my friends didn't have their dads around, and so it was one of those things. I just tried to do the best that I could, and allow them the space. Like if they needed to come to the house, and if they needed to talk to my dad, he was there.
Yeah.
And one of them things where, look, I may not be home sometime.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would come home and I have homeboys on the couch talking to Pop.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate because you run into so many young men, or just men, not even men in general, just people that haven't had their fathers
That's
around.
a fact.
Right. Because if a young lady doesn't have a father around,
Yes.
sometimes that impacts her relationship with men.
A lot of times.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm trying to be fair, like nice, but like you don't know how to engage, or you don't know how to be approached.
I don't even know what a man is supposed to look like.
Right.
You know what
all
I'm
I know is manhood that leaves responsibility.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take care of me.
Yeah. And so it's impactful in so many different ways. You're talking stats, and I don't know how true this is, but I've seen this a lot when it comes to, we'll say, black kids. There's not a lot of black kids anymore that compete in the sport of baseball outside of some of the other countries.
Interesting.
One of the reasons that I've heard is why a lot of us and our kids don't participate in baseball is because, which is sad, but they don't have anybody to throw the ball to. Like the dad is not there to play catch with them.
Yeah, wow.
And so how impactful that is it true? I don't know.
Yeah.
But does it sound good? Yes.
Yeah, the fact that it sounds realistic is sad in and of itself, regardless of the number.
Yeah.
You know
So,
what I mean?
but for me, I've just always tried to either be an example, live a life that's pleasing, and then just trying to be available for those, whether it's young men, even some older guys, even my own peers that may not have had a father figure in their lives, just to try to do and say the right things, or the things that will please the Lord when it comes to conversations, and just kind of how to help direct them on some things and that they may be doing.
So your dad raised you in the Lord, right? Was that early on? Did your dad raise you in God?
Yeah, he did. My mother and father were both pastors.
Got you. All
right.
And so we had church.
That's right.
We had church in our home. Somehow I was still late.
CPT is genetic, though. It ain't,
I would come
just because we in the living room don't mean
I'm coming
they're
down.
going to be there 15 minutes when we supposed to be.
I'm going in the kitchen cooking while church going on. But yeah, so both my parents.
Fried chicken and watermelon too while church going on? Come on, man. Don't set us all the way back. Don't set us all the way back. A little Kool-Aid for community. As long as it's red, it's fine.
Oh man.
So no, but I was going to ask you, like, how, because I've always known you as a dedicated family man, right? You've been we've talked through your situation, your story, like Leslie's passing, like you were locked in on your family. Met Talisha, locked in on your family, like kids that were not biologically yours or your kids. Like you've not been one to shy away from the responsibility of taking care of your family.
Yeah.
And I would imagine you can tie that directly to what you saw your mom and dad do for you.
Yeah, I've seen my dad. I've seen my dad do it. I've seen my mom do it. I've seen them be present. And so for me, it's always been trying to be present.
Yeah.
Trying to be present, trying to be, for me, I've always looked up to my father. I always thought of my dad as my superhero.
That's good.
And so with that, I've always looked up to him. I've always wanted him to be proud of me. And so watching how he moved and the things that he did, and some of those things I try to emulate, even now with my own family, my own kids.
That's how it's supposed to be.
And we got a gang of them. It's 5. We got 5 kids.
Come on.
Yeah, I got to start in line.
For real.
Yeah, we do have we got to start in 5. We got to start in 5, and from 26 all the way down to 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so trying to maneuver and still trying to be the man that I know to be and that I can be is a task in itself. But I had a good role model. I had a good example.
You did.
And
You got to
so,
tighten up that 5-year-old though. He like to fight too much. He be hitting me and stuff, and I need
Man, listen, that dude would turn.
Protector.
No, don't try to justify this. He needs to work on this.
JB,
This stuff his dad gave him, he need to get him quick because he keep fighting me when I show up the house.
That's only because you're trying to take his brother's money.
He need to quit having. He can't keep walking around with
He's
the dollars.
a kid. That's wild.
And my youngest is not having it.
He shouldn't.
He keep walking around with money out. I'd be like, hey man, let me hold that for you. He like, why? I'm like, because I got that.
And just give it up.
I left $2 richer.
I'm still working with him.
I ain't give it back neither.
Still working. Yeah, it's still working.
So let me. This is interesting. So you passed down from what your dad gave you, which is great. And I'm hearing you say, superhero. I want him to be proud of me and all that. And just I want to hear from you, Trevor. But I just want to get real vulnerable from it. I heard that and I was like, dang, what's that feel like?
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Like that hit me. Like I was like, dang. Like I never like. My grandfather was that for me, right? I did have an example. When my mom left my dad because of drug abuse, alcohol, all that stuff, moved back to Virginia Beach. We lived with my grandparents. My grandfather was my hero, so I did get it. I did get a little bit up for 5 years. From 5 to 10, I saw him. I saw him hold things down. I saw how he loved my grandmother. I saw how my aunts and uncle and mom revered him. I saw that, and then he was gone. So I didn't have the man. I wish he could see me now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I haven't. He hasn't been able to see me.
Gotcha.
And I don't think I've had another person in that role. And if somebody hinted they wanted to be in that role, it was too painful to let. I didn't want to look at anybody else like a father figure.
Yeah.
That was resistant towards, like, I don't want that. Like,
I could see that being odd.
you know what I'm saying? Even when somebody, even you got the nice older dude just call you son, I cringe on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I'll take it. I'll be like, oh, okay, thank you, sir. Like, I respect.
Yeah.
But the inside be like, yeah, don't call me son. He ain't my daddy.
I'm not fully healed.
Not fully healed. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm working. I'm in counseling.
Yeah.
But like that hit me kind of like, even your homeboys, like, they're coming by to get mentorship. I can imagine they'd be like, I want JB's dad to be proud of who I turned into, because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that piece. And I had
That's why it's important though.
Yeah.
That's why the father being there is important. We are a blueprint of what the boys are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we're also a blueprint of what the women should look for.
Yeah.
It should be
how they should be treated.
This is how God designed it.
Yeah.
But for me, I did have that hero look at. Shout out Stacey Lee. I was able to see him and what he was doing, but my life was a little different when it comes to the fatherhood piece. I had different men that was there. My Stacey Lee was the man that I knew to be my father the entire time. We have a great relationship now, but early on, I had a stepfather. The stepfather I had, that was totally opposite. My mom met him. He was just getting out of prison for murder. So started out with, the murder, drug dealer, abusive, guy, you got to hide around the house. He may put hands on you out randomly, you know what I mean? Crazy stuff. So grew up with that. And then come to find, my father, he was doing extremely well. You know what I'm saying?
But he was absent.
Yes, early on, yeah, he was. So therefore, I didn't grow seeing that, but then I got a chance to see it. So it was like, this is. It was a thing that looked like maybe it was possibilities. Like, so this is what could be. You feel what I'm saying?
Was there a moment in that? Because if he wasn't around, he was doing well. You was with your stepdad who was not treating you well. When you finally saw your dad and saw that he was doing well, but he wasn't doing well with you, was there a moment of, why didn't you take me with you? Like, was there any of that?
I don't, to be honest with you, when it comes, I maybe it's because of trauma, but I don't remember a whole bunch of the details of my thoughts at that time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure looking back, that question had to have crossed in my mind, because though I went to visit, I had to get dropped back off at the crib. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm back in the situation. But when I became an adult in my 20s, I think I was 20 or 21, he gave me the apologies, and I gave him the forgiveness, and we've been good since. So therefore, we've been able to build and create what we have now. But as a child, of course, there was a lot of confusion as to what's a man supposed to be. I know this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? You beating on my mom, you out doing this, that, and other. You treat me this way. I know this ain't it. But trying to find your identity because you telling me that I ain't this and I ain't gonna be this and all of that, but I know better than that. So trying to prove yourself as a young man, you know what I'm saying? It could break some people because you could believe what they saying.
Right.
So though I had a male figure there, it seemed like he was doing everything he could to try to put out whatever fire I had burning. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to make it through that, praise God, and become and also be able to meet my father and see that there was different, create something different, and change my trajectory. And I know that had a big piece in it. You know what I'm saying?
But think about that. Like, I don't know your stepfather's history or whatever, but
his father treated him like that too.
Yeah.
And
that's that was exactly what I was going to say.
I was able to interview him, which is crazy. Yeah. Before he passed, we made everything right. He gave me the apologies, and he asked me, this is when I had a television show at the time. He's like, just interview me, ask me whatever.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
And I got that, and I was able to ask him, why didn't you like me? I was able to ask him, well, why did you do this, do that? Why were you this way? And he told me his father beat him with wet ropes and did all types of, he felt like that's what making a man look like.
So let me ask you this. He followed the path that was given to him, right? You were given that same path and you could have easily followed.
I could have, yeah.
What was the turning point to say, I know this ain't it. I know this ain't what a man is for you?
First of all, we always had a Christ foundation. Even though all of this was happening, my mom would always bring us to church. My uncle was a preacher. My grandfather was a preacher. I seen some preachers do it wrong. I seen like my Uncle Joe do it right. I seen a lot of...
Shout out Uncle Joe.
Shout out Uncle Joe. And that was another example. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. We had more examples.
We had more examples, but those that are right there with you.
Yeah, the trauma overshadows sometimes.
There you go. But I think that Christ foundation, what Christ called me versus what my stepfather called me, always made me understand, nah, ain't it? And I had this burning inside, which I'm going to call that the Holy Spirit that was saying, nah, you better than that. You going to be better than that. That was always there. I didn't know how. Because at that time, I had drug addictions and things like that. So I did things that was contrary to my benefit because of the trauma I was dealing with, not knowing how to process it. Yeah. But all of those seeds were planted, and I had that foundation to cling to, even when things didn't look that way.
I heard something the other day about if you speak to a child, and I guess a person, to keep the healthy, there must be 5 positive comments for every 1 negative comment.
Oof, well, I was at a deficit.
Yeah, I got work to do.
Yeah. There's for every criticism you give, you're supposed to give 5 attaboys. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I wonder if it's the same with the mentor piece, right? Because I know I had way more men in my life speaking words of life to me than I can remember.
Yeah.
But I remember the trauma more.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And I turned out to my benefit with all the words of life that was spoken to me, like I'm doing good now. But when I think back on my childhood, as much as there's great memories, the glaring thing I remember was this. I wonder if it's because we didn't highlight or spend as much time thinking, meditating on all the different mentors, or where we don't remember them as much. Like if we grew up with 5 positives for every 1 negative, I wonder how much that would overshadow the negative. I wonder if we had enough mentors to fill in that trauma void, how much that would overshadow the trauma. I ain't write this down. My brain just kind of ticking right now.
But too, I think it's kind of hard to say because the mentors are great, but they're not your dad.
That's a fact.
That is
a fact. So for instance, perfect examples like with my two older girls. Biologically, they're not mine, but they're mine.
Right. Yeah.
But even with that, they still have issues and trauma that they're dealing with because of their real father, not being present.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and I can sit here and I can tell them I love them all day. I can do all of those things, but there's still a yearning that every child has that eventually becomes a parent, that yearning to hear.
It's spiritual, bro.
It is.
From your dad.
This is a part of you. You know what I'm saying? There's a connection missing when that's not there.
Right.
There's a piece missing.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
I was talking to, so if this is your first time watching, my dad was absent, drugs, alcohol. I met him at 20. He apologized. I didn't want to forgive him. And then it took me 9 months after that to finally call him and say, I forgive you. And right after I said, I forgive you, and we had a great conversation, that was our last talk. Right after that call, he died. So I was stuck with that I forgive you mode. And so I had a chance to forgive him, but I didn't have a chance to reconcile. And I was talking to Jermaine actually a couple of days ago. We was talking through stuff, and Jermaine asked me, he was like, "Yo, how did you know when you got over it? How did you know when you were actually forgave? And how did you know when you were healed?" And I was like, I don't know if I ever really got over it. You know what I mean? Like, because there's still a yearning and a longing. There's still I'll never get that in this life.
Yeah,
it's done. That chance is gone.
Yeah.
And that sucks, right? It doesn't mean I can't be whole. Doesn't mean God isn't doing great stuff. Doesn't mean I don't have great men around me now that are 20 years my senior to speak into my life, because I do. But that part of I had a chance to forgive, for me, is where I went off the highway I was going on. Because I was going down a highway that I was actually modeled way better and shown what to do. But the pain, when I finally found out my dad wasn't here because he was choosing drugs over me, I started to say, man, let me go do what I want to do and just just do what all these rappers and my friends and athletes telling me to do. Smash everything you can, do whatever you got to do to get some healing or get some relief or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I finally met and I was living that life, when I finally met my dad and we had that conversation and I forgave him and then he died, that forgiveness piece broke me down. And I was like, that part changed my life. That got me back to the path I was shown I needed to be on the whole time. It was like, that hurt could have splintered off and I could have went further down that rabbit trail.
Yeah.
But I did have enough at a Christ Foundation because of my household. The house I grew up in was amazing. I had so much, no abuse, I had so much love.
Yeah, good.
I had a great home, bro. But that pain and that, I really want you here. You came back. I forgave you. Now you're gone again. Something about that jolted me back on the path that I was supposed to be on. I turned back to Christ. Like, I've been playing out here. I really need to get my life right because what is life supposed to be about? So something about that forgiveness for me and letting go of that got me back on that path. So while I can't say I'm whole from it, like I still kind of walk from a limp from that situation, the way God took that is I got to forgive my dad, but I didn't get to reconcile with him.
Gotcha.
So when I meet people, friends, that's like, I need to fix this thing with my dad. I'm like, yo, he's still alive? They're like, yeah. I'm like, bro, let's take a trip. Let's go do that.
Maybe God left it like that so you'd be like that.
Maybe, man.
Because now you're able to help others, multiple people reconcile. That's one reconciliation that turned into how many people?
It's a great way of looking at it,
your voice. So
it is.
So God has a way of solving many problems with one. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? Like, I would actually help my friends connect with their fathers and push them to bro, just go have coffee, just go have a conversation. Right. And they would meet, reconcile, forgive each other and start this journey. And I remember early on, I was passionate to push them to do it because I would never see it and I cared about them. But I remember once I saw it happen for them, I'd be jealous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just was like, I wasn't trying to be jealous, but I was just like, why ain't gonna get that?
Yeah.
But that pain I kept pushing people to do that. And over time, it grew from, I'm glad you got that, but I don't want to talk about it anymore, to I'm glad you got that and I'm celebrating with you. Like now, I'm just happy.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just happy for him. And so there is a part of me to where, even though my dad made bad decisions, and I don't think it was God's will for him to make those bad decisions. I don't think that was predestined for him to be a drug addict. I don't think that. I do think that, all things work together, right? So God can take that moment, can take the unfortunate consequence of him hurting his body and his life shutting down. He can take that consequence and do something beautiful with it.
Yeah.
When I give it to him, when I submit it to the gospel and say, well, how can I help somebody not go through this too that I went through? And that's become a life mission for me because of that pain. But forgiveness was the splinter point for me where God took that and turned into something else. So, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times, man, we'll find ourselves in situations and we in these situations and we talk about, well, God, why me? Lord, why me? How come all that nonsense? And at the end of the day, you're going through it for somebody else because eventually you're going to run into somebody that only you won't be able to have a conversation with
Absolutely.
them.
Because of what you went through.
Because of what you went through.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to sit there with them, had a conversation, y'all made a cry together, whatever, and you can kind of tell them what it is that you did or what happened for you to heal.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that person can heal because of the trauma and the situation that you went through in your life. And at the end of the day, everybody's better for it.
It's almost like he gives you, with your healing, he gives you a big thing of balm to go and help heal other people.
Yeah. That's true. And the other side of that coin too is, I was thinking about what I was talking is, I can talk to somebody who directly has been through it that needs to know how to get through it.
Oh, yeah.
But also my story can soften the heart of somebody who hasn't been through that.
Right.
Yeah.
And has no compassion for that, or has their mind not expanded to that reality. And now they become more compassionate, like, man, I've never been through that, but I know JB, and JB went through that, and that's my man. And like, man, like I actually care about that now. If I meet somebody who's been through that, I have more context.
That's good.
So that story can be used in so many ways to strengthen and help people. So how talking to the person who's going through, been through, or may go through father's absent, not being there, whatever. With all we've talked about, what's a thing you would give them? I wrote some stuff down from what y'all said, but what's something you would give somebody to get through and process that and live well in the midst of it?
Well, what I would say looking at my dad, Stacey Lee, right? He was able to admit to me that he was childish, he was selfish, and he told me he was self-aware of what the issues that he had. And we all have, issues that we contend with. But once you figure out the issue and you make that turnaround, you be an example of what a good man and a good father looks like. You don't be so prideful that you can't say, hey, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get this straight. Will you forgive me, and let's get this thing right, and then we move forward from there. That's an example of dealing with conflict, dealing with your issues, growing, and admitting the issue and doing better. So I would say first and foremost, we have to be a better version of what we didn't have if we didn't have it. And if you're that person that's going through and not there, get there. Let's make the proper changes. So I would say if you went through all of that, you've seen what you didn't have, and though it's not your fault what you went through, we've said this before, it's your responsibility to get yourself together, get healed, seek God, seek counseling, everything that you need, and be better and be an example for others. And speak up when you see a homeboy that's being a dirtbag or that's not doing it right. Like, bro, nah, bro, I can't, I can't sit there and watch you do that, bro. You know what I mean? Because that's real man talk. That's what men do. Yeah. Men ain't gonna sit here, and if you calling me your friend and you see me down bad, not seeing my kids acting a fool and all of this, and you not saying nothing, are you a friend? Are you being what a man should be? You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So we hold each other accountable, and we also be the example of what we want to see or what we didn't get.
It's good.
I would probably say, to me, forgiveness is big.
Yes.
You got to be willing to forgive. If your dad wasn't around, you got to forgive him for that. If he was around and wasn't present, you still got to forgive him. Because at the end of the day, if you don't forgive him, not only is he holding you hostage, but at the same time, that unforgiveness is going to turn to something else.
Man, yes.
And you don't want to have to deal with the effects of unforgiveness. Like, you don't. So you got to forgive him. You may not know the backstory of why he wasn't there. And you may not, or you might know. Maybe he was doing the best that he could, all that he knew. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you've got to forgive him so that way you can move on, you can heal, and be better, if you've got kids or whatever the case may be, because you want to be, like you were saying, you don't want to be that example. You want to be better than that. And so, but you got to forgive them, man. Like you have to, for whatever reason. I know you probably ain't trying to buy it. You probably ain't trying to hear it. But you have to forgive. You got to forgive him for not being there, whatever the reason may be, and got to move on from there.
That's a fact, man. And so as I've gone and talked about forgiveness in like schools and churches and all that, what I realize is people don't want to forgive because they feel like they're giving up their right to justice for what was done wrong to them. You know what I mean? And so, and that's correct. That is correct. But I've started to break down forgiveness in a few different things, and what I think forgiveness is now, simply, like you were saying, what this is going to turn into. I think forgiveness is simply letting the debt go, because like when they say you got a credit card balance or whatever, and they decide to let your balance go, they call it forgiving your debt, right? Because unless we forgive your debt, you're still carrying it around, right? And the same thing with forgiveness. Like if I don't forgive you of your debt, then you're not making payments. I'm walking around carrying it. It's collecting interest. I'm mad. You living in my head rent free. All of that's going on. So forgiving you is me simply laying the debt down and saying, what you owe me for me to be okay, I'm releasing you from.
Yeah.
Right? You don't, I'm going to put this down. And if you ever pay me back, say sorry, make it right, it doesn't matter. I'm still good because I put it down.
Yeah.
Right? Justice, which you still expect and seek, is the day you do come and say, Stacey Lee says, I'm sorry, I messed up. You should expect that. You should want that. Nothing wrong for that. But if you don't get that in this life, unfortunately, you still have the freedom to forgive and let the debt go and put it down.
Some don't get that.
So if you can separate those two things and know that you can still forgive and still expect justice, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't get justice, you can still forgive. You can separate those two things. You can forgive and walk in freedom. Like, I just let the debt go. Like if he never calls and apologizes, I'm good. I'm not gonna be held up. I may unfairly have to go do some work and some counseling and some trauma stuff. I may have, and that's not fair. You should foot this bill.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to go to this, but I'm going to.
Yep.
But because it's for me, it ain't for you.
Yep.
So I think that's the part of it too, man. The other thing I picked up from you, so forgiveness is one thing. If you're dealing with this, learn to let the debt go. The second thing, which JB started with, is, and me and Trevor were saying as well, don't go find good mentors in your life, figures who can fill in the void, and don't push aside and avoid the ones who want to be there for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make space for those who are showing interest in your life and who have an open door for you. I tell everybody all the time, and it's like, good mentors. They got a long waiting list of people that want to be there and learn from. So like, if somebody's making space in their life for you, they showing interest in you, or even if it could be a teacher, it could be a coach, could be just somebody that's really, really safe and good worth time. Like, make some space to be there for them. Yeah. And spend time with them. Don't wait for them to just chase you down. Say, hey, can we get together, hang out? I just need a good voice in my life.
And don't be afraid to be honest.
Fact.
So you might not know how to do that.
Yeah.
Because of all that you dealt with. And so if you know that this mentor is making themselves available, instead of pushing them away, you might need to go holler at them like, listen, this is what's going on in my life. I really don't know how to invite you into this space.
Yeah. It's real good, bro.
And then from there, that's kind of how that thing will take off.
It's real good.
You've got to, you got to do that too. So you got to spark that conversation.
You can't heal well if the only voices in your life are other hurt people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
The only voices in your life are other people that are hurting like you. All we have to share is our hurt most times. If somebody's not healing, if somebody's not seeking other counsel, if somebody's not healing themselves and then bringing it back, like, all y'all going to do is operate out of hurt.
Yep.
And it's not anybody's fault. Right. It's like you hang around nine broke people, you'll be the 10th one. You hang around 9 unhealthy people, you'll be the 10th one. Everybody coughing, you hang around them, you're going to start coughing. If you got to find somebody healthy to cling to and make sure that all the voices around you aren't giving you unhealthy stuff.
Hurt people.
The facts. And heal people. So like, make sure that as much as you may love your circle and the people you're around, as much as you may relate and connect, because y'all are going through shared experiences, that's not a problem. That's fine. But if nobody's got a way out to offer you, you got to go find a voice that knows how to get through it. And that's what we hope for you, that you can make it through that stuff, man. I want to share this with you too, man, just on the forgiveness piece. Matthew 5:23-24, Jesus says, hey, if you're offering your gift at the altar and you remember that your brother and sister has something against you, like you've offended somebody, it's probably more for the father piece. Leave your gift in front of the altar, go be reconciled, then come back and offer your gift. Jesus said forgiveness and working this stuff out is way more important than just giving $1 in church.
Yeah.
A lot of people will go through religious activity and skip the very thing that the religion is talking about. So like, go forgive. That's more important than other actions and other deeds. Like, go fix this stuff. It's not easy. It's not always fair, but it's right and it's healthy for you.
And it don't always feel good.
It don't always feel good.
And then you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're unable to forgive that man or whatever for not being there, and then you take that out on your kids.
Ooh, facts. Yeah, facts. Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to come back up.
It's going to come back one way or another.
Back up. Yeah. So I encourage you to deal with it sooner rather than later, and get some people in your life to help you deal with it. And we hope you got some inspiration today to do that. You know what I mean? So thanks for being here for the Legin Podcast. Sub, share, like, and we love y'all, man. Oh, I didn't shout out our sponsors.
Dang. That's right. Tell them about it.
Man.
I got to do that, man. Shout out to Chick-fil-A Broad Creek Crossing in Norfolk, Virginia for sponsoring the show. And shout out to Aviation Institute of Maintenance, teaching people all across the country how to fix planes and get paid doing it.
Come on.
Big shout. Thank y'all for being here. Hey, man, thank you so much for watching this episode. Do me a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go to the show notes, do all the things, and let us know what you're feeling, because we'd love to hear from you. Appreciate you.